Awaken the light. The cosmos is within you. Remember who you are.
Hi, everyone. Good day. Good day. Good day. Just so you know, I'm doing streams on TikTok as well as YouTube. Okay, so I'm going to be looking back and forth. I'm just going to check the visual on YouTube. Give me a second here so I can see. Because yesterday when I checked, it was crazy. I have not turned on TikTok yet, but give me a second. All right, I got it, y'all. It's working. Let me pull up TikTok. It's gonna be an exciting day. Hey TikTok, it's it's me, the Power Prophet. Just so you know, everybody knows I'm streaming on two platforms today. Hi, hi everybody. Hi. I'm streaming on two platforms, YouTube and TikTok. So all y'all, it's gonna be an eye juggle. Okay, all right. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you all. Whoever's here, whoever's going to stay on TikTok. Don't forget the gifts. The gifts. I think I'm supposed to ask for gifts. TikTok. If you got any questions, comments, please put them in there. And I will try to get to them. Okay. Today is actually the teaching day of the Ascension. And I know I wasn't on here with you with TikTok last week. Last week was a strange week, although I did get the lives up on YouTube. So TikTok, if you don't see me in TikTok doing these lives, please visit Power Prophet TV, where you can see the full live streams instead of just all these little clips, right? The clips that I put up, because that doesn't really give anybody the full story. And YouTube, thank you. TikTok, don't forget the gifts, follow. YouTube, thank you so much for being here. Love lights, everybody. Ashe, welcome all, the Ascension. Okay. And if you're on here now, I ask you to share this live stream with someone who's not here. Let them know I'm coming on or I'm on right now. All right. Please follow. I will follow back. I know I'm behind on TikTok in the comments and on the follows. I will get to that this week. YouTube, please like, subscribe, and hit notifications so that the algorithm can pick up this information and invite other people or let other people have the visibility of these live streams. I appreciate everybody. Again, love lights. Ashe, welcome all. All right. It's about reclaiming your worth. It's about not proving to anybody that you exist, because you do. You do exist. And today, look, get comfortable. Come on in, get comfortable, because today I have something to give you, right? Yesterday we did the hard part, and we stood and we looked at the shadow, the world. We're talking about the shadow self. This is Shoot this week, the gate of Ba. If you want more insight into that, I implore you to look at the live streams from Monday and Tuesday. And also there is a Shoot live, a free practice guide at power-profit.com/resource. Resources. Get your free Shoot practice guide. Shoot is the shadow, and today we're going to get into the teaching. Yesterday we looked at we extrapolated the shadow, and we took the shadow and looked at it in regards to the world and to society, and looked at the shadow the world tries to hang on Kim folks. And we all know Kim, for me, is the operative word for melanin/black. I'm not picking this word out of my mind. This is an ancient Egyptian or ancient African terminology to signify black. We talked about, that shadow they tried to hang on us, the monster. We talked about the monster. Go back to yesterday and see the live stream. The monster they built out of their own fear. And we're talking about Western Caucasian folks. I'm not even going to get into essentializing, because we all know you can't paint everybody with a broad brush. But I was talking about the monster of racism, right? That and so I don't want TikTok to block me because it seems like I can't use those terminologies. But the monster they built out of their own fear, right? And handed us to carry that, because the way in which Kim folks are interacted with is absolutely not driven by anything that we are doing, okay? And of course, there are people who can argue this point and say, well, Kim folks act this way, Kim folks act that way. Okay, there's always some high frequency, low frequency vibing folks, okay? But the bottom line is, us as a people, we have taken up somebody else's monster, somebody else's shadow, right? And they put it on us to carry, okay? And we learn to refuse it for the most part. Although we all know there's that internal residue that this society can implant inside of Kim folks that make us wonder about our own self-worth, right? Like we may not even be cognizant that the society has us questioning our worth, and we just act like it's normal, right? No, it's not normal to question your worth. If you're good enough, if I'm okay, if I'm enough. No, that is not normal, quote unquote normal. No, that is not what anybody of any persuasion should be doing, okay? And so we have to learn to refuse it. But first, we have to learn to recognize it. Hence the reason why I go through the Tuesday commentary to like bring it into our faces, like to recognize. That's the power of release, right? Power of release is recognize, which is the gate of Ka, release, which is the gate of Ba, which we're in, and then reframe, which is the gate of Ak, which we're going to get to next week. Okay, I mean, this series is going fast, but we have to see what's going on. We have to recognize, become aware, and understand how it operates in ourselves and in our lives, in our behaviors, in our words, in our mind, and how we conceptualize and see ourselves. Okay, we have to give back that BS, that monster, right? We have to give it back. We have to refuse it, because it will drag people down, because it is too heavy to carry alone, too heavy to carry as a community, and too heavy to carry as a society. Hence what I was saying yesterday about Western society needs to do some shadow work. They need to do shadow work, because their shadow selves, their junk. You know how like we go home, we go to work, and we're one way, right? We cool. Everybody's like, oh, yeah. Akila is cool, right? And then we go home, because we're not going to show that shadow to people, right? And then we go home and we let loose. Like, well, first of all, we're comfortable around the people in our space that we live with, so we go crazy, right? But see, and so that's problematic. But see, you gotta understand, people de Blanco, if you understand what I'm saying when I say de Blanco people, right? They just act up outside the house in all kind of spaces. They don't have to be screaming, you know what? They don't have to do that. Their monster is frequency. Their shadow is frequency and structure and system, right? So they just doing their shadow junk all the time. And you can apply this to people in your lives, relationship. This isn't all about people de Blanco. right? And I hope you know what I'm saying when I say people de Blanco, because again, we got some funky gatekeepers in the space of TNT. So we got to learn to refuse that junk. You know, to say that one, this one, all this stuff is not mine, and hand it back. Hand it back. Hand it the hizzy heck back. Hand it back. But that is only half the work, because there is another shadow, my friends, right? It's just not people de Blanco, right? And I, for some reason, my Spanish word for people is escaping me, and I'm sure there is. You know, I'm just gonna say the El Blanco, right? That's all of them, right? And so they got that junk, this shadow, that they continually pouring over us in every way, shape, or form they can. Even those of us who are inspired and conscious and awake and reflect and understand, we still navigate their shadow selves, the shadowness of their, and I wish there was another word that I could use, because I'm scared racism gonna get me banned even saying that on TikTok, but they're junk. Okay? And so, you know, there is another shadow. So I don't want to spend too much time on the Blancos, right? The El Blancos, the Los Blancos, whatever you want to say. What I want to do, you know, and we make a common mistake and think that their junk is our junk, right? So what I'm saying is, talking about them and their shadow and how this society is actually a shadow society, because we have not lived to this world, not lived to the glory and inspiration of a higher consciousness, of a higher place, of a higher vibration, in which we all understand that we are humans and there is a common humanity. This is something that we have yet to really aspire toward. Now, in this day and age, I mean, many centuries ago, thousands of years ago, in African civilization, you can look up John Henrik Clarke. You know, he was talking about African civilization before it was touched, and how there was a high spiritually, moral, harmonious, balanced, peaceful state, egalitarian. Everybody was understood as being a human being and having a soul, and thus there was no lower people, higher people, supremacy, none of that stuff. That didn't happen until the Blancos, El Blanco people, went into Africa and began to taint it with their mental illnesses. Okay? And so that is possible. And it is possible to have that without going back to hunter-gatherer days, although some hunting-gatherer may help some people, right? Get some exercise, get out into the world. But there is another shadow, right? There is another shadow, not the false one that they projected, the true one. And that's what I'm here today to talk about. Your own, the sacred one, our ancestors, Kim ancestors, called the shoot. Okay, this is the gate of Ba. And that one has never left you. It is with you right now in this room. Okay, and as you know, my name is Minister Dr. Akila Ka Ma'at, and this is the Ascension. And today we turn around and face the shoot. Okay, because here's the secret, I'm sure, that nobody told you. All this time you thought your shadow self was chasing you. You spent your whole life running from your shadow self. disowning it, pushing it down, afraid of it, ashamed of it. But it was never chasing you, right? It was never really the problem, right? It was following you. Your shadow self follows you faithfully. It's carrying something in its hands. And it is waiting for you, right? This whole time in the dark. Okay? I love the dark because the dark is where all the goodies and the treasure is. We've been taught to fear the dark because the Blancos fear the dark, right? We are the dark. We personify the dark. We personify the cosmos. We personify everything they are fearful of in space and deep in the ocean. We are the blackness. We are the power. We are the beginning and the end, the all. And for those of you who are religious, get mad at me. We are the Alpha. We are the Omega. We are all. That's why they are scared of us. That's why you should always understand the power in which you walk and never falter. Never. And you got to understand that shadow in the dark is an important piece of who you are. One that Western medicine, Western psychology keeps telling you, you have to disown, put away. That is some BS, my friends. BS. BS. Okay? You know, your shadow has been waiting, following you this whole time for you to stop running from it and turn around and take it back. Take it back. That's like totally contrary, right? To what psychology, spirituality, right? Yes, they're like, okay, we'll try to figure out how to integrate the bad stuff and turn it into the good stuff. Yeah, okay. Okay, yes. That works. If that's how you want to say it, right? Right? Carl Jung is the one that came up with this idea of the shadow self, right? But there's no understanding of the shadow like that which emanates from ancient African spirituality. And you know what? This is just like medicine, right? Think about it. I come from academia studying medicine and health, okay? And I know that the medicine that they create, that they utilize in many different, all these diseases, all these mental illnesses, all this stuff, is medicine that is uniquely created for the Blanco bodies, right? Blanco bodies, right? Right? And if you look at DNA evidence today, a lot of genetic evidence, a lot of those medications don't necessarily work, although they work, but they're not made for Kim people's bodies because the melanin makes us extremely unique in that way. Not to mention we have healing properties that are astounding, hence the reason why Trump and these billionaire buddies wanted to buy biomedical specimens from Africa of Black people so they could experiment on them and figure out, how do these people live so long? How do these people look so good? How do these people fight off diseases? We need some of that Kim in our skin so we don't die when we destroy the ozone, right? Look. So this idea of shadow self, Western interpretation is different from ancient African interpretation of the shadow. And that's what we need to understand. We always run into all this other stuff to understand our uniqueness. We can't fit in that box. We don't fit in that box. We are bigger than the box. Reclaim your worth. That's my little board today up there on that sign. And I'm sweating even though I got the air conditioner on today. So it's time to stop running from your shadow. It's time to turn around and take back what is yours, and stop listening to Western ideology regarding how harmful the shadow self is. Okay? Today is the teaching, tomorrow is the practice, my friends. We do it together. Okay? But today I want you to understand exactly what your shadow has been and is holding for you. So let me just remind you a little bit about what your shadow actually is, my friend, okay? Because, like I said, you have been lied to about it your whole life unless you are in this literature, in this book, in these spiritual traditions. You definitely have been sold, I don't know who said this, a bill of goods. Hi, TikTok. Hi. So, hey, YouTube, thank you. So, in the wisdom of the Nile Valley, the beautiful Nile Valley, your shadow has a name, my friend. The shoot. S-H-U-T. And you spell it with a line over the U. Shoot. Okay? And it is not the bad part of you that Western society wants to tell you it is. It is one of the essential pieces of your soul, standing right alongside of the Ka, the Ba, and the Ren. And we have been talking about the Ren and Nomo. We talked about the Ba on Monday. Get into Power Prophet TV if you're not there and look at some of these videos. Our ancestors drew it as a small figure, my friends, painted completely black, right? And to them, it was sacred. Thank you, everybody on TikTok. Thank you for being here. And for them, it was sacred because it is your protective double. I bet you never heard that before. The companion that has walked every single step of your life beside you. Okay? The living proof that you are here, that you are real, that you cast something into this world. Now sit with that for a second. A companion that is faithful, and a companion that faithful, that close, that has never once left your side through every single thing you have been through. You really think a presence like that has just been walking beside you empty-handed? Do you really think a present like that needs to be stuffed into a bag and disowned and believed doesn't work for you? Do you really think that that is what we do with the shadow self? And you know, people do shadow work all the time, right? And we're going to do some of that tomorrow. And yes, I am sweating, even though I have the air conditioner on. Forgive me. It's not empty-handed, my friends. No, the dark is never empty. The dark is where everything got kept and saved. Every part of you the world told you to put down. Every gift you were told to hide because it just didn't fit. Every feeling you were told was way too much because nobody else feels that way. Why do you? Right? None of it disappeared. It went into the keeping of your shadow, my friends. And your shoot, S-H-U-T, has been holding all of it, waiting for the day you are finally ready to come back for it. Okay, so hang on out with me and let's see what that shoot is doing. All right, the dark was never empty, my friends. As I always say, we are the dark and we are not empty. The dark is never empty and the dark is never scary. Okay, it is the room where everything you were told to put down has been kept safe. Okay, so let us open our hands of your shadow and see what it has been carrying, my friends. All right. And this is not going to be a complete listing of the things that are aligned with your shadow. That I'm speaking of it in a way where it's not necessarily you better work on this. You got to figure out how to use this shadow self to do this. I did some of that on Monday. But I'm going to give you some information you probably never heard. But I'm also going to let you know that this is not an exhaustive list of what the shadow carries, because this live stream would be forever. If you want more insight on that, you join the temple at power-profit.com. So what has your shadow been carrying? What is it shadowing? Well, the first thing is the oldest thing of all, okay? Your protection. Your protection. All right, your protection. Don't forget TikTok. Buy those, get those jewels. I could do a jewel or whatever the gifts are. So your protection, okay? So hear me, all right? Our ancestors did not fear their shadow. They weren't like, oh, this shadow self's a problem. Oh, I got to fix this. No. They trusted it. Your ancestors trusted the shadow, right? Because to them, the shadow is the part of you that guards you. I know we can see this. We can see that. It keeps your footprint in the world. It stands at the very edge of your existence, and it says, this one is real. This one here. And this one cannot be erased. The chute is your bodyguard, and it has been on duty your entire life. Now, just think about it. Think about what the world talked you into doing. It told you your shadow is bad, right? Your darkness was shameful. Right? That black in you was something to fear and to fix and lighten and hide. And so some of us turned on it, right? And we didn't even turn on it in a conscious way. It was unconscious, sort of like drinking water or breathing air. Okay? And so you disown the one part of you that has been standing watch over your soul the whole time. And I know we could think about the shadow and, in this way, right? So I don't have examples of other people. I'm gonna use myself real quick, right? In a situation where I just knew that I was being treated unfairly, right? And back in the day, maybe even like 5-6 years ago, I would have just quietly walked away and ate crow, because my shadow, the woman that is going to tell you what's up, be very clear about it, was thinking, oh, I can't do that, right? Because of the woeful Blancos. You don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. No, I can't do that. That's for something else, Anyway, I don't know if I'm be able to control it if that comes out, right? But as a point of protection, there may be times in your life where that part needs to stand with you and in front of you to have something cease and desist, or to understand the reality that is being created due to particular actions, behaviors, and talk. So sometimes that has to come out. And the thing about it is we will go home and complain and argue and yell in the house. That's not protection there. That's disruption. Instead of figuring out how to say what it is you have to say, be very clear about it, but you don't want to get arrested, right? But be very clear about it and let somebody know what it is. It took me 25 years to open my mouth. 25 years of believing my shadow was going to get me fired. And that's just one piece. It's easy to run to anger. right? As a protection, right? And there are other things, and we'll talk about some of this more tomorrow. Well, you know, the past, present, and future exist all simultaneously, my friends, right? So you disown that part. People disown the fear, right? Fear is a good thing, you know. I mean, you don't want to go someplace and get hurt, so you might have some healthy fear of it. But sometimes that fear that we may want to ignore is telling us something, sort of like intuition. And that way, the shadow, as a protection, can function intuitively. Tell us about somebody, somebody's, an environment. But we tend to disown the shadow. We fire our own bodyguard. We send away the very thing that is keeping you whole and protected. Right? But that's what Western society, that's their perspective. Right? And then you lie awake wondering why you feel so exposed, so unguarded, so easy to knock down. Because that part of you, that protective side, you believe is your shadow self that you got to hide until you figure out how to control it, even if the idea of controlling it is something you're even consciously thinking about. Okay? So today we hire that shadow back. And today you stop being ashamed of your protector. So your shadow, according to the shoot, number one is protective. Okay? You were taught to fear the one part of you, my friends, that has been guarding you your whole life. And we all see those movies where they got a whole bunch of crazy people they hear a scary noise and they walk into the house, right? But you got the one Kim person. I ain't going in there. Yes, that's an example, a shadow, right? Protection, the shadow, listening. It ain't because we scared, it's because we know. We know. There's a knowing. Okay? The second thing your shadow is carrying is the one thing, my friends, that is going to set a lot of you free today. I'm going to tell you something. The shoot, your shadow, is your power. Your power. Think about it. Every time anytime, right? That was ever too much for somebody, right? Your anger, your boldness. I remember my students told me I was bodacious. Some crazy, the heck is bodacious? You know, your desire, your bigness, your fire, the volume of your voice, the size of your dreams, my friends. Somebody along the way, somebody told you that was too much. Calm down. You acting too much. You doing too much. Lower your voice. It's too loud. You ain't never gonna reach that dream. That dream is ridiculous. What makes you think you can do that? If anybody's ever had anybody say that to them, just nod your head, right? Or say yes in the comments. That's too much. You're doing too much, right? And to be loved, to be safe, to fit in the room that was always too small for you, my friends. You pushed all that down. I know I did, and I know there's a lot of people out there who have too. You push it down till you get to the point and you want to just explode, or you explode and you still keep pushing it down. You keep shuffling, you keep jiving. You explode, you lose your mind, you become an addict or get some illness because it's just too much. Or you just decide, this is my lot in life. This is what I do. what the heck? I'll retire and then I can do what I want to do. Right? You pushed it down. And then you told yourself it was gone. No, where'd my dream go? I don't have no motivation. Where's my desire? You procrastinate. You're doing all this crazy stuff. You're not bold no more. You wonder, where my boldness go? I used to do this. It's not gone. You pushed it down. Your power, it's simmering. It's simmering. It's still there. Your shadow has it. And it has been holding it in the dark this whole time. Right? I don't know who this Frank Benjamin is, but thank you, Frank Benjamin. It's lots of love to go around. I ain't stingy. Because what's going to happen to us is what's going to happen to us, and can't nobody stop or interfere in the fire that's motivating your life and what you do. Okay? And look, there's something you want to understand. I need you to understand today. All right? That buried anger, that is your boundary, right? You make a boundary out of that. You don't just keep getting mad and complaining. That part of you that knows exactly what is not okay, that buried desire, that is your aliveness, your appetite for your own life. The bigness, right? They shamed you for. That is your power, plain and simple. And you know, people think bigness is only for the entertainers that make it. No. No. I mean, we've been done a disservice living in this society. You know, with all these provincial Puritan norms and religion and telling us to bow our heads and respect all this stuff. Yeah, we got to respect people who respect us, right? I tell my son in a minute, who's 22, if somebody's not giving you respect, you don't have to respect them back. Period. That's the fire. That's the shadow. You don't cow and crumble because you feel, well, if I mess this up, I'm not going to get nothing. No, that is the defeatist attitude. That is the attitude that projects nothingness in your life. So that if you do make a move, you already believe nothing's going to come in to catch you. And then, of course, nothing comes in to catch you. Sometimes you got to stand in your power, your aliveness. Because everything around here wants us walking around dead alive. You know, Carl Jung and people that teach that have a name for the idea of your shadow as your power, and it's called the golden shadow. I don't know if you've heard about that terminology, right? The gold we bury in the dark. I know you know the story about the father in the Bible who gave his sons talents, right? Gave his son talents, and he told them to go do something with them, right? One son went and got rich. I guess, I can't remember the story completely. The other son did something with the talents, right? Invested them, built a city. And I'm just making stuff up now. But the third son took the shadow, the power, the talents, and buried it in the ground. He was the one the father was like, are you crazy? You shame me. You shame me. I gave you these talents and you did not use them. And he talked about his brothers and what the brothers did to the talents. That is your power. The talents are your golden shadow that we have been taught to bury unless we're going to be a rapper, an entertainer, somebody on the stage. Our life is our stage. And you only get one stage and one corporal life. And all that power, all that stuff, it's not for people who make it. Your shadow is for you. Yes, they may have turned their pain and trauma into something that makes money that people validate them for. and buy. But this idea of the golden shadow is not about somebody else validating us and buying something. It's not all about the hustle and the grind. It's about being happy. It's about being free. It's about having peace, that I am whole. I express myself in a myriad of ways. I ain't hurting nobody. And if I am hurting somebody and you're not actually physically or verbally doing anything to them, you could be hurting somebody because they could be a crab in a barrel. Screw them. Reclaim your worth. Your worth is part of that power in that golden shadow, in the Kim space. All right? So, the gold we bury in the dark. And that phrase is kind of nice. Those talents, the gold we bury, right? We don't want to bury it and be like that dude in the Bible, right? We just let him waste away, right? He even dig them bad boys up and try to bear some fruit in a little bit, maybe, but I don't know. He just left them there. Right? The dark keeps the gold, but we don't want to run away from the gold, from the talents. And when you go back down and reclaim what is there, you are not becoming somebody new. You're not changing. And you know, people in our circles like, you changing, you changed. If somebody said that to you, that's a beautiful thing. You change, especially if you walking in your shoes, in your power, and you're happy and you feel good. Let them say you changed all day, because you're not becoming somebody new. You're not adding a thing. You're just picking back up what was always yours. Always. Maybe you might be rediscovering it, reclaiming it. But being everything and then some, like I say, is not the realm of certain people who make it. It's all of ours. And the third thing your shadow is holding is the gift. The gift you hid so you would be accepted, right? Like me, the voice you swallowed so you would not be a target. The brilliance you dimmed because it made other people uncomfortable. The dream you buried because it scared you. And it scared you because whoever raised you, whoever you were listening to, whatever environment you're in, made you feel like that dream was not something that fit you or that you could do. And so it scared you. You know, like, because it scared them, right? And so listen, like yesterday when I was on the live stream, you know, I was talking about feelings, right? Some feelings are valid, right? But a lot of times when we go to do something new, right? When we are desiring to pull and embrace the shadow, right? We're going to exercise our voice. We're going to show our creativity. We're going to express ourselves the way that we feel inspired to, right? We will get a feeling, the unworthiness, the insecurity about it. And we will stop. And I talked about yesterday about how I have had that feeling. And I've come to realize that it is a lie. It is a lie. Oh, nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's a lie. Because first of all, you care, or you wouldn't be doing it, right? And that's all that matters. If you care, if you think that this is something you want to share and you care, somebody does care. It's not about what people are going to give you back. It's about what you can give out into this society, into this world, into the cosmos, the vibration, right? Ain't nobody got to be like me. Ain't nobody got to be like them. Ain't nobody got to be like you. Everybody is unique. Even if it is doing something that somebody else is doing, you're not doing it like them because nobody is the same. But you got to realize that when you start stepping out with your gifts, that your mind will tell you that this is messed up. You don't know what you're doing. You need to stop. This is never going to work. It's been 3 months. It's been 6 months. It's been a year. You need to stop. You're fooling yourself. That voice, those feelings are a lie. Do not listen to those voices. Do not accept them. It is a lie. Believe me, over time, and if you release that junk and embrace your shadow side, the side that people told you to hide, the side that really wants to say something about something, over time, you will have a knowing whether or not it's effective or if it isn't. But the bottom line I'm trying to say today is your shoot is calling, because who cares if it is effective for anybody else but you? And that's my passion. And that's what my students, when I was a professor, said I was bodacious and loud, because I'm a passionate Kim woman. Anybody got no time for the little voices telling you wrong? Anybody got no time for them telling you that you need to act different in the class? Trying to put you in a box, and you 30, 40 years older than these people. I'm going to tell you what, that's why I'm not an academe right now, because I was embracing my shadow, because I lived long enough. I'm not going to walk on eggshells anymore. If I was a white man, them students would be scared to death of me. But because I'm a Black woman and the narrative is already out, some BS narrative, some stereotypical narrative, it comes a time in your life where you're like, I'm done. I'm finished. That's the shadow. I'm done. I was not put on this earth to have to jump somersaults, cartwheels, backflips their way. Yes, we all need money, and I always say this. Yeah, I'm hurting, but I tell you what, and I say it again. Embracing my shadow and doing what makes me feel whole has been more exciting, joyful, and peaceful than a day in that job I had. You got to give up something to get something. To get something, you got to give up something. And if you're talking about embracing your shadow and living in your gift, then you got to be prepared for that walk. And don't listen to the feelings, because the feelings are incorrect. You're just doing something you never did before, right? You're using your talents, right? And that is why many of us walk around with an ache that we can't even name. And we get mad at people, go crazy at people, because we're hurting, because we're not living the life that we want to live, because we've been told our shadow self is bad. And until we figure out how to use it, we got to disown it and put it in the basement. You know, that feeling that there is more for us in this life, that quiet, stubborn sense, right? That you came here to do something, right? That you have not touched on yet. Something just out of your reach. And I'm going to tell you this, when you get started doing some of this stuff, It's an experiment. So don't be mean to you. Give it a chance, right? You are not crazy. You are not ungrateful. The feeling you have to do you is real, my friends. That feeling is your shadow trying to shake you awake, standing right behind you, holding your purpose in its hands, saying, it is still here. I kept it for you. Come and get it. And many times we can't even get it because we're so lost. And also because, people can be quite stubborn and think we know everything, right? And that's a big problem. I used to be that way. And no, it's not age where we go, oh, I don't know everything. No. Your shadow is telling you know everything. Your shadow is saying be stubborn. Maybe because it was protective, but at the same time, your shadow is your protector. So opening up, listening to others, taking in insights, using what works and throwing away what doesn't, or recycling it in some kind of way. That's real. And that's what the shadow helps you do. Nothing you buried or don't even know about anymore is lost. It is being kept. And it's time to go back forward. I don't know how many times as a psychic advisor, I get phone calls and people are like, what are my gifts? What are my gifts? Can you imagine not knowing what your gifts are? Half the time we don't even think about it. We all have unique talents and gifts. And then when I'm talking to my client, sharing insights, questioning, gathering information, discussing it, the gifts and the talents, they just start to blossom out. Things that the people haven't even thought about, that they already do in their life. Nothing is buried. Nothing is. And the fourth thing your shadow does, and it's the one that asks the most courage of you, your shadow is also carrying your grief. That's a big thing in the power of release. This is the gate of Ba. This is the release, right? The release is grieving that which doesn't serve you, right? The pain you could not hold, the sorrow that you would have drowned in if you had felt it all of this time. We bury it. We bury it just to keep walking, just to keep doing. And for years, right, you called that your weakness, right? The grief, the pain, a weakness. I'm here to tell you, my friends, it is not a weakness. And your shadow taking it from you was not a burden it laid on you, right? Your shadow, the shoot, has mercy on you. It carried what would have broken you until you grew strong enough to face it. That's why we got to recognize and see. That's why people turn their pain and trauma into fantastic things, whether that be a spoken word, an article, a book, a rap song, some lyrics, music, a painting, learning something new. I mean, all this stuff, right? And that is exactly where shadow alchemy, right? Shadow alchemy lives. That is the sacred science our ancestors carried, right? The turning of held pain into power. And many of us hold the pain and just turn it into bitterness and cynicism, right? Right? The turning of held pain into power, the turning of loss into purpose. When you're finally able and ready to walk into the dark, because you have to go into the dark to receive this. It's not going to be some lightning bolt that's going to drop on you and tell you, oh, no. This happens in the dark, right? Your grief was never meant to stay buried down there, right? It was meant to be turned into gold when you are ready, right? Underneath of your own grief, your shoot carries something older than you because your shadow is tied to your ka. We talked about ka a couple of weeks ago, to your blood, to your kim, your melanin. So it also holds ancestral memory. Your shadow holds ancestral memory, the wisdom and the power your ancestors deposited in you and kept hidden for safekeeping, the same way the keepers of the Andes, Andes, knew that ancestral power was kept in the underworld. People like to talk about the underworld, the nether, right? Scary stuff. It's only scary if you're a certain type of people, right? It's not scary, okay? Your shadow is the vault of your whole lineage. Hence the calling of names, the altars of libation, okay? Everything they were, everything they were, everything they knew, everything they survived, so that you could stand here today is in you. It is in there. And it is yours to inherit. I need to get a better looking fan, I'll tell you that much. Look, your shadow did not bury your grief to punish you, where you just feel pain all the time. Many of us like to rise in the pain body. I did a whole bunch of time on the pain body when I first started doing this work on social media, right? People love to suck on the pain teat because it feels good, it's comforting. People love the chaos, the low frequency chaos. Some people cannot live without the low frequency chaos. They don't feel right if something is not going on, right? So they will let their grief flow into these low frequency things, no problem. No problem. But to let it bubble up, right? And do something positive, something good. It's like unheard of. Why? Because society has trained us to do some crazy damn things in our life. You are not you because you are you, right? You are you because society tells you who you are, if that makes sense. Thank you so much, Soul Leveling. Thank you. And if you don't think society has created a you that you think is you, then there needs to be some more reflecting, right? You've been bent, broken, hit, punched, turned over, kicked, and made to think that you're something that you're not. You are, I must say it again, the beginning, the end. You are all. You are Ubuntu. You are a connected node on a field of folk that stretch from the beginning of time to the end of time, if that's possible, because there is no such thing as time, really. Time is manufactured for good reasons in some cases. Anyway, that's another live stream, right? So how do you receive all this? I done talked about a lot of stuff here. Hey, Dark Water Wave. I done talked about a whole bunch of stuff, okay? So how do you actually go and collect what your shadow is keeping for you? instead of listening to Western ideology and deciding it's bad and you need to hide it, right? I'm going to give you the approach today and tomorrow the practice. We walk through it together step by step tomorrow. But first, let me clear away the wrong way, because most of the spiritual world will try to sell it to you. The wrong way is to rise above it, right? To stay positive. Keep it light, man. Only speak of good things and never once look down into the dark. That is what I call spiritual bypassing, my friends. And I need you to hear this clearly, okay? You cannot receive what the shadow is holding by avoiding the shadow, okay? The gift is in the dark. Remember, you are the dark. And you have the black light. That light is shining so you can see these gifts. The gift is in the dark. If you do not go down into the dark, you do not get the gift. It is really that simple, my friends. So, here is the real way. You don't start talking all that happy, life is good, everything's okay. Now, here's the real way. You turn toward it, okay? You stop treating your own dark like an enemy, okay? And you start treating it like the faithful keeper it has always been. You hug it, you love it, you embrace it. You get quiet. Quiet enough that you can actually hear what is holding for you. You honor it. You thank it the way our ancestors thanked the shadow instead of fearing it. Don't listen to these Western things. They gonna have your mind all twisted up. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love that. Yes. They'll have your mind all twisted up. Okay? You get quiet enough to hear what is holding for you. You honor it. You thank it the way our ancestors did. You don't fear it. And where there is grief down there, my friends, let yourself grieve it. Stop running. Stop arguing with people. Stop making people mad. Stop making yourself mad because you got junk you do not want to grieve. And you don't have to grieve alone. You come to the temple. You come to me. You go to your friends, your community, right? You go to your ancestors. You lay it on your ancestors. You tell them to hold you up because I have done many live streams. You are never alone. Never, ever, ever. That is a lie that the West tries to sell us. It is a lie. You are never alone. So you let yourself grieve. Do it out loud. Do it in your body. You cry. You scream in your pillow. You scream at the oak. You do what you need to do. Don't hurt somebody, right? Don't hurt yourself. But you grieve, okay? The way the Dagara, D-A-G-A-R-A of West Africa meet their sorrow, my friends, with the drum together, because that is how pain finally moves and becomes power. And I want you to know, yes, there are plenty of tribal drums, African drum tracks. And let me tell you, that is a daily ritual for me because it centers me and helps me remove. And go to Power Proper TV. I got a whole section on the drum. Don't sleep. They want to make us forget all the things that made us powerful, gave us joy and peace, that healed us to lay in the bed of the Blancos. That does not work for us. And you see what has happened to us over time. We sold out our ways to believe that we were like them. I'm not trying to be divisive. I'm trying to help people understand enough of that. And whatever it hands you back, right? Your grief, the fire, the gift, the voice, the calling, you receive it. You name it as yours, and you carry it up into the light where it belongs. Thank you, Dark Water Wave. Thank you. That is shadow alchemy, and we do this in the temple at power-profit.com. That is our inheritance. And notice this, my friends, because it matters. It is not something you do all alone, as I've said, just stuck up in your head. There is activity for this, okay? It is done in the body, in ritual, in community, which is exactly why we do it together, okay? And a shout out to Dark Water Wave. Let me tell you, we also do it in the water. We cleanse. We forget how important we are. Primarily water. Fundamentally water. And we get confused because we're psyched out through the physics to see ourselves as solid. No, we are bags of water. And in order to really energize and claim that power, I'll go in the ocean, in the salt. Let the salt, let the ocean, let the fresh water, let the creek, let the river, let the lake help you find your shadow. Because it can cleanse the Blanco BS off your body. I'm being funny here. But no. All these things we have lost sight of, living in this space that tells us some crazy stuff. Okay, so let me ask you right now gently. What did you put down in the dark a long time ago? What did you put down? Because the world told you to. What did you put down because the world, and the world could speak through your parents, it could speak through your siblings, your ancestors, through the people at your job, through your friends, through environments. What did the world tell you to put down? Was it your anger, your voice, your gift that people didn't like because it didn't fit what they thought you should be doing? Your grief because you was getting on somebody's nerves? Your power because other people were made to feel insecure by it or were intimidated by it? Did your man tell you to put down your power? Did he make you feel like something was wrong with you because he was insecure by your power? Oh yeah, I'm using that example because that actually happened to me for 10 years. Everything I talked to you about, I have been through and came out of, birthed anew. Back in the womb, and I birthed out that womb to reclaim my power. So I'm not telling you anything. I'm not giving you examples about anything that I have not been through. And I tell you one thing, Black women suffer a lot from mates, partners who want her to dim her light. As a matter of fact, you will get the beat down, right? Yeah, I've been in that situation too. But you know what? I'm still standing. Look, if I'm standing, we can all stand, right? I ain't no different from nobody else, my friends. I'm just like you. I just realized my shadow is my gift. And so I moved the shadow to the front. I'm still trying to figure out how to maneuver it, in spaces, right? Because it's new to me. Even though it's old, it's new, right? I got this voice, I got this energy, and I go in and I give it. But sometimes even us folks be looking at us folks like, what's wrong with her? Sometimes those people ain't for you, but sometimes that person has something you need. And we can say, well, if it's mine, it's going to be mine. Yeah. I believe that. But you got to know how to meter that thing to get what you need to facilitate your walk. Not that you are claiming something different. You just understand you have to have a broader perspective, even though you are walking in your power. So it is a dance. It's a beautiful dance. It's a wonderful adventure to finally say, this is me. And then the adventure is to walk in that me unapologetically. Unapologetically. All right. So, whatever you put down in this society, whatever it is, I want you to know it is not lost. It is not gone. It is right there in the hands of the sacred companion, right? Your chute, who has never left your side. Okay? So today, I want you to turn around. And I want you to love on all those things, all those parts that somebody told you was wrong, right? You do the opposite. Instead of crying and feeling like you ain't nothing and being sad and angry, no, you stop and you say, I love every single last piece of me, from my head to my toes, to my fingers, to my breast, to my womb, to my back, to my arse. I love my anger. I love my voice. I love my loudness. I love my desire. I love my power. I love everything about me that somebody told me was jacked up. I love it all. You say that. You say that today. You turn around and you love on your shadow like you never loved on your shadow at all. Do that as many times as you can think about it today. Love on your shadow. You love on everything somebody said that was wrong about you. You love it. Your roles, your bad cooking, if you cook bad, whatever, you love on all of it because you are spectacular. You are phenomenal. You are the best thing that ever happened to your life. All of you. All right. Okay. I done talked myself sweaty. I had to get me a better looking fan. But look, tomorrow we do the practice together, my friends. We do the practice together. All right. And as usual, I got to tell you about the temple. I'm grateful. Thank you immense. Oh, Dark Widow Wave, I appreciate you. I appreciate y'all. I really do. And YouTube, please like, subscribe, hit notifications. TikTok, please follow if you can, share. I know it's almost over now, but if you want to continue this walk, I need you to come to the temple, right? $44 to 7-day free trial. Come to the temple. Let's do this work together. All right. Let's do this work together. And, you can begin today. And it's a $44 subscription. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. And look, I don't beg. I don't beg. I offer resources. So avail yourself of them. Make sure you get the shoot practice guide from power-profit.com/resources because it is free. So you can begin to embrace and love on your shadow and get prepared for tomorrow's live stream. Okay? And let me leave you with the whole arc of what we have walked together today. They took your name. We talked about that. you took it back. They tried to make you fear your own sacred shadow, and you refused the lie. Okay? Speaking proactively here. And now you know the last secret they never wanted you to have, my friends. The shadow they told you to be afraid of has been carrying everything you need. Everything you need this entire time. Faithfully in the dark, waiting for you. Okay? So turn around, my friends. Turn around. The thing you have been searching for your whole life out there, that you think is going to make you happy out there, has been walking right beside you the entire time. It's just been holding everything you need to be truly, fundamentally, intrinsically, innately happy. All right? All you have to do is reach out and take that bad boy. Pick up that shadow. Give it some love, all right? So I'm going to let y'all go. Hey, I don't know who said peace, cousin. Peace. All right, YouTube. All right, TikTok. I love y'all. Thank you so much for being here today. I got to get in that air condition right now because I'm a little hot. All right, come join me on Power Profit TV tomorrow to do the live practice. Don't forget to get your free practice guide from the website. Look in the profile. Look in the link in bios. Okay, and don't forget TikTok. Reclaim your worth in the trial of proving your existence. You already exist, right? You already exist. YouTube, thank you. All right, TikTok, I'm out of here. Y'all be blessed. I appreciate y'all so much. Bye-bye. YouTube, thank you. Thank you for being patient with me. As I'm doing this double duty with these two screens because, of technical things. But I thank you too for being here with me today, and be blessed. I appreciate you. Yeah, got to put the last thing on. Thank you, my friends. Bye-bye.